Hi everybody, welcome back to another very exciting Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. I am your host, Jesus Ramirez. How's it going? I see a lot of action in the chat already. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. First of all, let me know if you can hear me, and also let me know where you're watching from. I'm in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area in California. Hey Sam, how's it going? Thank you so much for being here and helping me out in the chat. We have Bruno Silva, Ron, Peter, Robert, Daxa, Christina. We have Claudia from Print My Soul in the chat. Hey Claudia, how's it going? We have Jennifer, Carol, Susanna, RB. Awesome, thank you so much for joining me. Good morning everybody. So this is gonna be another Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. Today we're gonna work on sky replacements. This set of Photoshop Daily Creative Challenges will be all about the new features in Photoshop, and today we're gonna talk about what one of my favorite new features is, which is the sky replacement feature in Photoshop. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Before we get started, I just wanna point out that there is a starter file that you should download. If you go into behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, you can scroll down and you'll see this box here under November 12th, 2020, replace the sky. Make sure that you click on the getting started file so you can follow along with me. And also I provided two skies in there that I composited together so that you can use in your projects, or you can use your own images. Totally okay with that. But I just wanted to provide you with some files to get started in today's stream. Let me, while you guys download that, let me just make sure that there are any questions in the chat and that everything is okay. All right, we have a lot of people from all over the world. Yes, Kelly, the Banana Crew is here. We have Neil from the UK. How's it going, Neil? Dipanjan from India, good to see you. We have Kelly from the UK as well. Got bananas in South Florida, good to see you, Carol. Awesome. We got Peter from Canada. We have Daxa from South Carolina. Yaneth from Houston, Texas. Awesome. Ooh, Slovakia in the house with Susanna. Thank you for joining us, Susanna. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here today. This is going to be a really fun Daily Creative Challenge, and I think you'll really enjoy it. What I'm gonna do now is make sure, whoops, sorry about that. I was trying to switch over the screen, but I completely did something different here. So let me switch over into, oh, I'm already on my screen. I gotta bring up Photoshop. There I am. I'm inside of Photoshop now, and I'm not really sure why this thing is not going down, but you know, we'll worry about it later. Actually, it might be the music that I'm playing. Nope. Is it Discord? Yeah, it's Discord. It was giving me notifications. We'll talk about Discord a little later on. But anyway, this is the image that you should have downloaded from behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. And it's just this photo of this little house, and it has a gray sky. And Photoshop 2021 has a really cool feature that allows you to replace the skies. Now, I'm not gonna talk about this later on, so I better mention it now before I forget. There's something new in Photoshop called the sky selection option. If you go under select, you can click on sky, and Photoshop will analyze the image and make a selection out of the sky. As you can see there, you can see the marching ants, the selection going around the sky. We're not going to use that in this video, but I just wanted to talk about it so that you know it was there in case you needed it. But what we have instead, and what we're going to spend most of our time in today, is the sky replacement option under edit and sky replacement. Here it is, and this is going to bring up this window that will essentially apply the same selection. It uses artificial intelligence known as Adobe Sensei to locate the sky in your image and replace it with the image that you have on this drop down. Now there's three groups: blue sky, spectacular, and sunsets, and you can just click on the different skies and replace the sky on your image. But the coolest part is that you can also import your own skies. It could be a photo, it could be anything that you want, it could be a composite. For example, here, I have this composite of this sky with two suns. I'm sure you guys in the chat will let me know where this reference is from. It's a very popular movie, a little older, but I think you guys will get the reference. And this is a sky that I composited together, exported this as a JPEG, and brought it into the sky replacement option. I also have this sky that will help me turn day into night. So as you can see, you can bring in your own skies. How do you bring a sky? There's two ways. I've seen a lot of confusion about this. If you click on the gear icon, you'll see this option called Import Skies. If you do that, you'll notice that you really won't be able to see any files on your computer. And the reason is that this is looking for a sky file, a .sky file. How do you create .sky files? If you select a group of skies in your drop down here, you can export them, and when you export them, you will export them, as you can see here, as a .sky file. So that's what Photoshop is looking for when you go into this import skies option, that sky file. But how do you import a JPEG? Well, a JPEG, you actually have to come down here at the bottom, click on this plus icon next to the trash can icon, and then you'll be able to see the JPEG images that you have, or the PNG images that you have, and you can just select them from here and click on open, and Photoshop will bring them in. So that is the difference. Unfortunately, at the moment, there's no way of bringing in more than one JPEG at a time. So if you have several images, you will have to import them one at a time. Let me see if there's any questions so far. Cool. Yeah, Robert's talking about reflections. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. So I'll just hold that thought there. Looks like I've been hanging out with Val. Yeah, definitely. That is definitely a Star Wars reference, exactly. But yeah, so let me just take some time and explain how these tools work, because I know they can be a little confusing. So I guess we'll just use this sky that I composited in. And basically, the first thing you have to do is select the sky that you want to select from your drop down. I already talked about that. And then you have the two sliders here, shift edge and fade edge, which control the mask. You have to remember, when you export these settings, they'll show up in Photoshop as layers. So each of these these sliders have a corresponding layer or adjustment layer, or in the case of the first two sliders, a mask that they adjust. So shift edge, what is shift edge? Well, you can just think this as the edge of the mask. So if I bring this all the way to the left, you can see the edge of the mask. The gray sky is peeking through because we moved the edge. So Photoshop determined what the edge was, and then that slider helps you contract or expand that edge. Also, we can fade the edge. In other words, blur the edge. So right now we're blurring the edge at 100, but if we bring that to 0, you can see that we have a sharper edge. And again, this is the edge of the mask. This is the mask will be applied to the sky layer. So white reveals, black conceals. So you can think about the sky itself being quote unquote white because it's revealing, and then everything outside the edges in black because those are the pixels being hidden. So that's what these sliders are controlling. So you can just adjust these sliders accordingly until you get a result that looks good for your image. Then we have a really powerful tool. We have the sky brush right up here. The sky brush allows you to, and actually I'll zoom in so that you can see. The sky brush allows you to paint in or paint out the sky. Remember the name, sky brush. So notice how we have this plus icon and this minus icon. I'm going to click on the minus one because I want to subtract the sky from these areas. And actually, I meant to add the sky. Sorry about that. I meant to add the sky. See how I'm adding the sky? I'm adding the sky into these areas just to get a better result. See that? So that's what that brush allows you to do. It allows you to paint in the sky with the plus icon. See that? I'm painting away the gray by painting in the sky. And also I can subtract the sky. See how the sky is on the store and on the building? It's not looking very good. So I can paint away the sky on these areas like so. So that's what that brush allows you to do. The sky brush allows you to paint in and paint out the sky. Cool. And actually I can double click on the hand tool up here to fit it to screen. So that's what these three controls do. The brush, the shift edge, and the fade edge will allow you to control the mask that Photoshop will output on that sky layer. And it will be just a regular mask, so you can fine tune it later if you need to. Next, we have the sky adjustments. The sky adjustments allow you to control the actual sky image. So you can make the sky brighter or make it darker, adjust it any way that you want. And this will create a brightness and contrast adjustment layer. Then we have the temperature slider, which will make the sky cooler or warmer. And this will use a color balance adjustment layer. This will become a color balance adjustment layer. You'll see that in a moment. Then we have the scale, so you can make the sky larger, smaller, or whatever you want. And then with the move tool, you can move it around and place it accordingly. I guess I'll make it a little bit larger, and I will also flip it with this checkbox, and I can adjust it accordingly, something like that. So that's my sky, and that's how I can control the positioning and scale, and also the orientation. Next, we have the foreground adjustments. The foreground adjustments allow you to control the foreground image. And you have two options, multiply and screen. Multiply makes things darker, screen makes things brighter. So you can just select which blending mode to use that looks best for your image. And this is the lighting adjustment that you'll see here. And this will become just a gray layer with this blending mode applied. And that gray layer will help you match the brightness of your image to the sky. So you can just adjust this accordingly so that you get the appropriate results. So maybe something like this in this case. Then we have the color adjustment. This will become a curves adjustment layer, and it will adjust the individual channels on that curve to harmonize the colors of the image to try to make it match better. If I bump it all the way to the right, you'll see now that it's really trying to harmonize those colors, and then I can also adjust the brightness just to make it match a little bit better. So make sure that you adjust those accordingly. And finally, we can output to a new layer, or new layers, plural. If you press OK, you can see this group now that is doing that sky replacement. And these are the layers that it creates. And like I mentioned, it creates everything that I talked about, right? So we talked first about the sky layer, and we talked about the layer mask. If you hold Alt and Windows, Option on the back, you can actually see the layer mask, and you can come in here and paint with black on areas to hide the sky. So maybe I don't want the sky showing on the grass and on this little house, so I can paint those accordingly, like so. And obviously you can spend time fine-tuning your mask as much as you want. You can also zoom in, and you can see that, you know, there's still a little bit of gray peeking through there. So maybe I can just use the dodge tool to, you know, paint those pixels and make them completely white. Totally up to you. I'm not going to do that in this case. I'm not going to spend time fine-tuning the image, but that's what you can do. Again, you can see the mask by holding Alt on Windows, Option on the Mac, and clicking on the layer mask thumbnail. Then we talked about the foreground adjustments. We talked about the brightness adjustment. So this adjustment layer, remember, makes the sky brighter or darker. Then we talked about the temperature adjustment slider, but it created this color balance adjustment layer, and you can adjust this accordingly. See yellow and blue, and you can make the adjustments that you want here as well. That is the most powerful thing I think about Photoshop and its sky replacements feature. It gives you Photoshop adjustment layers and layers, so you can keep adjusting them if you need to. So it doesn't export like a flattened layer. It can if you want to, but I wouldn't do it that way. I would do it this way, so you have total control over your images. Let me see if there's any questions before I continue. Cool. Yeah, awesome. So what's next? Remember I talked about that gray layer? See, there's this gray layer right here. If I set it to normal and increase the opacity, you can see that it's just a gray layer. I'll disable the mask. See that gray layer? Remember I set it to multiply, and then I was adjusting the intensity. So that's what the opacity was controlling. So that's what that slider did for the foreground adjustments. And then we were controlling the color harmonization with that one slider. And like I said, it controls the red, green, and blue channels to harmonize the color in that image, and that's what this adjustment does. So that's how the tool works, and obviously you can have a lot of fun with it. Let me show you a couple cool things that you can do that not a lot of people are talking about. So what I'll do is, let me show you one. Actually, I was going to show you something, but I'm going to show you two things. I'm going to go into File and Open, and something I wanted to show you is that you can also work with video. If you have a video file where the camera is not moving, like in this case, you can also do a sky replacement. Photoshop will not track the camera if it's moving, so you do need to have it on a tripod. Your video footage needs to be steady. And also, you can't directly apply sky replacement to video. If you go into edit, you'll notice that the sky replacement is disabled. But if you put your video group into a smart object, you can apply the sky replacement to a smart object. See that? So Photoshop will analyze the image just like it did before and do that sky replacement. And let me just move it around and see if I can get the other, there you go, the other side in there. I'll press OK, and Photoshop will apply that sky replacement. And, oh, and I'm glad this happened. So notice that the sky's not really showing. Why isn't the sky showing? Well, it's not showing because I need to open this up and I need to make sure that my clips are all the same length. See that? See how the clips are not long enough? So now when I hit play, you should see that the sky replacement was applied to my video. And obviously I can export this as a video. And you can do so by clicking on this icon and going into the render video options, and then export it as the .mp4. So yeah, not a lot of people knew that you could use this feature on video. Also really, really cool is you can actually use a video of a sky as the replacement. Let me, I guess we'll do that with the photo. I mean, we could do it with the video as well, but I think it might work better with the photo in this example because of the video that I have. I think it'll match the photo better. But basically what you can do here is you can, let me just close this for now and show you how to get a video. If you go into stock.adobe.com, there's a new free option. So you can just select free and then just type in sky and then see what type of skies they have available for free. Make sure that you check the video option and you'll be able to see skies that are free. I already licensed this one. I mean, they're free. You can license them anytime that you want. So I'm gonna select this sky and re-download for free. I don't think this is in my folder where I have my DCCs, so I will just place it in there. And it's gonna download in just a few seconds. And what I'm gonna do now is go back into Photoshop and just do another sky replacement. I'll delete the original one since I don't need it for this example. So I have my regular image and I'm gonna go into image, edit, sky replacement. And I'm going to use a blue sky because the video has blue. So I can't import the video in here, unfortunately, but I can just use a blue sky and then try to match the, the blue of my image onto the foreground element, and just try to match it as best as I can. In this case, actually, I don't want it so blue, so maybe I'll keep it here, and maybe I'll shift the edge in more, like so, and not blur it so much. Anyway, we'll call that good. Actually, you know what, before I call it good, I don't like how the mask goes on top of this house, and I'll zoom in so I can see it better. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to show you this feature. All right, I think I'm spending way too much time on fine-tuning it. I don't think it's important, but I just want it to look just a little better. Anyway, so I'll just press OK, and now I apply my sky replacement, right? Well, the cool thing is that I can also import a video. I can go into File, Place Embedded, and I can bring in that video from Adobe Stock that I just downloaded, and I can place it here. Now, I'm gonna open up the sky replacement group, drag that video above the sky layer, and just copy the mask onto that video, and I can just delete this sky layer because I don't need it, and clip the adjustment layer above that to my image, and I can just move the video around until it matches my scene. In this case, I might need to crop the image because I don't have enough sky, but basically now I can go into Window, Timeline, Create Video Timeline, and I replace the sky on my image there. So you can see the image that or the video that I added behind the little house, and now I have an animated sky with this house. Obviously, you can spend some time fine-tuning the details, but this is how it works. And I'm just going to click and drag this back so that both clips are the same size. And actually, it looks like I need to do it from here. click and drag these over. If they're not if you see that things start appearing and disappearing in your sky replacement, it's because the clips are not all the same length. So now you can see my final result. So the challenge for you today is to do a sky replacement. Whether you want to use video or not, that's totally up to you, but you have those options. I look forward to seeing what you are doing, what type of projects you're going to work on. I haven't talked about it yet today, but let me bring up the Daily Creative Challenge page. You can go into behance.net/challenge/Photoshop and download the getting started files. You have the sky replacements that I made for you, the 2 composites, the videos you can download from Adobe Stock like you saw there. And you can also make sure that you click on the blue button to take the challenge with me so that you can get notified via the Creative Cloud app. Also, make sure that you click on the community chat, which will take you into Discord, and right up above my head, you'll see the current challenge tab, and it looks like people are already submitting some of the sky replacements. Super, super cool. Thank you for that. You can also see the patterns that we worked on yesterday, so make sure that you come in here and submit your work. I'm here, the Adobe mentors are here, Sam, Beldier, Voodoo Val, Tim, Claudia from Print My Soul. We also have the Adobe team, Gus, Chad, they're in here as well. So make sure that you come in and submit your work. Also, when you submit your work, if you submit it onto Behance, make sure that you use the hashtag PS Creative Challenge, so that you can have an opportunity to be featured in this community gallery. So these are hand-picked projects that stood out from the rest. So if you want to have an opportunity to be featured on here, make sure that you use that hashtag when you create a project on Behance. Also, next week, I'll be on with Claudia from Print My Soul doing our Rework It show. That is a show where we take your Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign files and we rework on them together to help you improve them and to give you some professional tips and tricks. If you want to submit your work, you can go into iamclaudie.com/reworkit, iamclaudie.com/reworkit, and you can click on this green button to submit your files. It's really easy to do, and we're looking for files for next week. So please help us out and submit your work. Again, that could be a Photoshop file, an InDesign file, or Adobe Illustrator file. So make sure that you do that. And before I let you go, I just want to make sure that there's no questions. I know I went a little fast today, but we had a lot to cover. And I just wanted to give you as much information as possible. This is recorded, so you can go watch the recording afterwards. The recording is found under behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, and you can scroll down to November 12th, and you can click on the Getting Started button that you see there. Awesome. It looks like a lot of you really enjoy this technique. I'm really happy to see that. We have I'm not seeing any questions. If you have any questions and I didn't answer them, feel free to leave them on Discord. But I think that I just see a bunch of wows. Yeah, the whole video thing is super cool. Remember, the key is that you have to turn it into a smart object. A reflection in the water. Yes, Peter, thank you so much. You know what? I have 30 seconds and I'll do it. Let me do it super, super quick. Oh no, I forgot about the reflection in the water, Peter. Thank you so much for reminding me. Hopefully I won't get cut off. But anyway, when you do your sky replacement, and I'm just gonna do it super quick. When you do your sky replacement, what you have to do is just duplicate the sky layer, and then that will become your reflection. Let me show you how to do that. So I'm just gonna use that sky, that same sky. I'm not gonna adjust the adjustments, but when you create your sky layers, what you need to do is simply press Control J on Windows, Command J on the Mac, and the bottom layer of those two. And by the way, you don't need the adjustment layer, so delete it on the duplicate on the bottom. Then press Control T, Command T to transform, flip it vertical, and bring that layer down like so. Oops, I need to unlink it. You see how this is linked? Unlink it. Then press Control T, Command T to transform, flip it vertical, and bring it under like so. And then just use a layer mask while holding Alt and Windows, Option and the Mac to hide, and just paint in with white on the areas that you want the reflection to show. And obviously just bring down the opacity and use a blending mode if you like. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Sorry for I forgot about the reflection, but thank you so much for reminding me. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and I'm gonna have to say goodbye because I'll get cut off if I don't. I'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, but make sure that you stick around for photo editing with Summer Murdoch. She's coming up next. All right, guys, thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.